things that we're going through right now, changes in our board, the presidency, and as we look at that, and looking around the room and knowing the members in this club, we're full of leaders, and to have leaders among leaders and to step up and do all the things we do with our different committees in the community internationally, and having that turnover is really just a healthy part of our club. And whether that be in our committees, whether that be in volunteer groups or on the boards, it's a critical piece to just bring new blood, new thoughts, new ideas, and have a diversity of approaches. And I think it's been one of the keys to our success and celebrating it today. So thank you for everybody that the contributions you make in all the different ways. So I just wanted to highlight that, and then continue on. If Matt would come up and welcome guests and visiting Rotarians. Matt.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It is my privilege to introduce our guests and visiting Rotarians today. Please stand when your name is called and remain standing until guests have been introduced. Please hold your applause until after everyone has been announced. Benjamin Rambach, guest of Louis Dimmitt. Kristen and Boo Sytsma, guest of Michael Sytsma. Michelle Benham, guest of Thomas Dorwin. Amy Cohn and Marissa Beatty, who I'm fortunate to sit next to today, guest of Renwick Brutus. Thank you.
So, I wasn't sure if I was happy if there were going to be a lot of people here or not many people here. Just trying to figure out if you're excited for the change or to see, but thank you all for being here. A number of years ago, before I got married, my wife and I had a pre-Cana class, and they were trying to get you ready to make sure you were able to be successful with marriage. And they had a period of time, they sat everybody down face to face, husband and future husband, future wife. And they said, you're going to have 3 minutes. Men, you can say whatever you want, and you can't say anything back, women. And you saw everybody get really excited, and then it got switched around. And then the women could say anything, and I realized at that point, hey, I didn't have a whole lot to say without having a dialogue. I prefer the dialogue. But I realized this morning, or today, that I'm supposed to talk a little bit about the club, the state of it, and just reflections for the past year. So I'm going to try to do kind of a monologue, but it hopefully will not be too painful and long. I thought about this a year ago, and frankly was not sure what to expect, and one of the things that just sticks out more than anything is just the caliber of people that are in this club, and I'm going to miss being able to have a closer attachment to seeing all the things that our members do and how great our membership is. So that's probably the biggest takeaway. You may have heard a story I've shared before, but probably about 7 years ago, Ted Vecchio was a neighbor and friend, and we were playing poker together, and we were trying to get together for lunch, and our schedules were just not working. And then one of the days my Thursday freed up on a Tuesday, so I said, hey Ted, Thursday just freed up, you want to grab lunch? Sure, let's do that. Oh, you know what, I have Rotary. Oh, well, do you want to go? Sure. Do I have to wear a hat? No, you don't need to wear a hat, just come on. All right, so I went. It was the holiday lunch at the Grand Plaza, and I walked in and I saw a whole bunch of people that I knew, but something was different. And the only way I could really explain it is it's kind of like going to a Thanksgiving dinner with family. There was a warmth, there was a comfort, there was a familiarity. And before I even got through the program, I found an application, stuck it in my coat pocket. When I got done, Ted, and he had introduced me to Peter Albertine, said, hey, if you'd like to join, I said, I've already got it here. And that was how I got introduced to Rotary. And I found that that's very much the theme or the culture of this group since then. A mixture of philanthropy and business and people that have a similar heart to give to the community, and at the same time being business leaders and in our community, and it's just a great mix. So people have asked you, excited, you're going to be done. The best title, past president. I'm sad. It's been so neat to see all the things that we do, and I think I'll still see it, but it's just a little bit different. It's such a dynamic club, and I've been able to see in such a more vibrant way our greatness, and I'm so thankful for that. I did want to kind of go down that same road of relevance and membership, so I'm going to kind of touch on some relevance items, some membership issues, a little financial. But from a relevance standpoint, as I think back of what our club has done this past year, and really year after year, Strive came to mind, the impact that we have on high school students. And you see them every year when they come up here and reflect on what they learned with their mentors. The Rotary Open, that drives, I think, $16,000 last year, given the opportunity to scholarship for these high school kids that are really at risk, and most of them just really have a great experience. Think of Interact, the high schoolers that are able to come here and really get opportunity to see leaders in action and how that influences them on a go-forward basis. Every week we usually give a clean water filter away. I mean, it's something we do and we kind of take it for granted, but that's getting to a family every week. And that's changing the lives every time we do that. Community engagement, think of all the different local service projects that we do. We are a check writing club. We're also an active club. We make a direct influence on our community, not just by the checks, but by showing up and making a difference. We had our third Service Above Self dinner event. This year we netted, I think, around $53,000. Most all of that goes back to the foundation. That's almost $150,000 net over the last 3 years, and that gives us an ability to be more relevant to the community. So we start that, and then the following year, Service Above Selfie is created. And so this was our second Service Above Selfie. I called Neil this morning, I was like, how many people did we get on Facebook? It was a lot, wasn't it? It was like 75,000? Well, let's see, this year I think it was about 120,000. About 220,000 over the last 2 years. Oh, by the way, it was 515,000 people afterwards on the congratulatory. That's 700,000 people that have been touched through the Service Above Selfie effort. Matt Tejan was a key part of that in the Service Above Selfie event. I think that probably came originally from Derek's Service Above Selfie shots, but all the people involved in that, that's phenomenal. The PR committee, getting ourselves out into the community. Yeah, we kind of take it for granted what that effort does. You just hear about it, but all those Facebook likes, people come in because of that. They're seeing those opportunities to plug into the community. Programming, week after week, we bring people into this club to talk about what's happening in the community, organizations that are making an influence, and so often when you go out to those events at night, these are the people who are leading those efforts, the event committees, the corporate boards, volunteers, they're Rotarians. And then something that we're looking at now, trying to have a meeting once a month that's going to be afternoon, evening, trying to get people who are unable to get here at lunch all the time, but giving them an opportunity to come later. Be able to spend a little bit more time networking, getting to know each other. We just had the Get to Know Your Rotarian a few weeks ago, which was a phenomenal idea. And I know that I got to sit by some great people that I thought I knew, and I know better now. And Doris Drain for coming up and really pushing that through. Part of relevance, can't do all these things without having a financial footing. Financially, we look at where we are today. Our foundation has over $1 million. It's $1,047,000, I believe, that we have right now. And from that corpus gives us the ability to year after year continue to provide for the community. They gave, as a foundation, which is really us, $50,000 in grants this past Rotary year. I mean, that's going back into this community and it's reaching internationally. We have our, I think soon, our first planned gift, or $100,000 planned gift, which is a great step towards the foundation's future. And our Rotary Club has a $20,000 reserve. We're working towards a 20% reserve. So last year we had 10,000, this year 20. We're projecting for $30,000 this coming year. We want to have that so we have a $40,000 reserve. It's just prudent. And that's important for us to be able to continue on what we're doing. On the membership side, obviously we need to have members. And we have this goal that we've talked about getting to 250. It's bold, it's big, but we want to have something to push towards. I'd say probably for me, if there's a disappointment in this past year, it's not being able to get a bigger step towards 250. We kind of put a 4-year plan to do that. So Renwick, Chelsea, Neil, you're going to be the anchor on this, and I think we can pass that to John now, but trying to get there. We ended the year up. We have more members today than we did 365 days ago. That's positive. It's a step. We want to keep that going, bring people in. Part of being able to get new members here today has a lot to do with our past and the people, the leadership that we have in this club. When you look around, I was online, DACDB, Dawn gets on me a bit because I don't go on there as much as I probably should, but I was trying to get some information on there, so I was like, I'm just going to look this up. On DACDB, which I think is pretty current, we have 39 Paul Harris Fellows in this club. We have 14 past presidents that are actively involved in the club. We have 45 members who have been here for more than 20 years. I think about the commitment that this club has. Those people in the community representing us is what helps drive membership back here. I mean, we can do all these other efforts, which are important, but it's the caliber of the people in this club that makes it attractive. Looking through, I was able to find some other things out, and so I was like, well, I wonder, like, from a sponsorship standpoint, who's bringing all these people in? Jackie Taylor and Carl Verbeek are machines. It's not done in a way that you can kind of tally them, but when you look through the last X number of years and all of it, they are very prevalent. So thank you for that, and they're good role models for us to follow up on. And then just the two longest serving: Wayne Muller, 52 years; George Trowbridge, 48 years. Through all of the people who are over 20 years, but you know who you are. It's really remarkable. Thank you for the service, and that's key to the success of this club on a continuing basis. I wanted to highlight two things probably that I guess I'm most happy for, excited about for the club, is when looking at how do you get people to come into a club and what makes them want to be actively engaged. One of the things that I thought would be helpful that we've been able to do when you look at all of the service opportunities is, wouldn't it be neat if the club could send somebody away every year and do a water filter project? And the club was able to put that together. The foundation of the club put it together. And this past year, we sent down the Hankins down to Nicaragua to install water filters. The Caldwells went as well, and the Siegels went. We had 3 groups going down there and made a direct impact. Well, what ends up happening is those people come back frankly on fire because they saw what we do and tell us about it, and hopefully inspire us to continue to give and get engaged. But it also gives hope for a young person who wants to join the club and realize, I could go on that trip. You know, that may not be a trip that's within reach for every new member, but somebody that's got a passion, that has an interest and wants to do something special, we can provide that for them, and hopefully we can continue to do that. We sent our president-elect to the international conference this year. Being able to send somebody who's going to be stepping into a leadership role and to go and see how incredible this club is internationally and how we fit into that, and to be able to come back with resources from going there and to be able to share that with us, both from a developmental standpoint for that individual, in this case Renwick, but also for the benefit of the club, to be able to get inspired to learn these things and figure out how we can make more of a difference in the club. That's phenomenal. I hope we can continue to do it. This was not overly far. It was Atlanta, but I know they have some that are a little bit farther reaching. But it's also, get involved, get on the board. Maybe where are you going? Do you know where you're headed out? Toronto. See different parts of the world and learn so much more, meet new people, and have an opportunity to develop your leadership skills. And then lastly, I can't say it enough, I don't know the best way to say it, but just who we are, the compassion of the people that are here. I think about the simple things of when somebody just having a rough day, you might, hey, how you doing? And you can share that. But also something where I still remember this. It was, is Phil here? Phil Johnson? Yeah. So I'm up here. I don't remember when it was. It's probably like 3-4 months ago. And I'm saying, I look down at him and he goes, I have like a couple errant eyebrow hairs. he was sitting like at that table, and I swear, he goes like this, like, are you kidding me? A, it's there, but B, you can see that? That's compassion.
That was my brother.
But that's what we do. And I also got a phone call one night. It was probably like 7 o'clock at night. I got a phone call. I didn't know who it was, and it was a Rotarian, and they were struggling. And wow, I wasn't sure what was looking for something. They were just having a difficult time. I need a prayer. That's what we do. And I saw that so many times through this year, compassion for people who lost loved ones or had sick folks happening that they didn't know how to deal with that in their life. And I think that's who we are. And it was a treat and a privilege to be able to see that. And it really goes back to that Thanksgiving feel like you're at a Thanksgiving family meal. It is, and that's special, and that's one thing that I won't forget, and I appreciate the opportunity to serve. And talking about that service and the family, I had somebody asked me this morning, they said, well, how did you get involved with this? We've been involved in a couple of nonprofit groups, and I said, actually, it was my wife. We got married, and I had service in my mind a bit. I grew up and we did some stuff, but she had seen a homeless family when she was a kid, and it just stuck with her. And so after we got married, we were still trying to find our way and found an opportunity to serve homeless family, and she said, we're doing that. Okay. Make her breakfast on a Saturday morning, that's great. We went, we took our 2 young kids, and it clicked. And so I look at this opportunity, and frankly for me, it's an extension of her. I wouldn't probably do this without her kind of shifting my life. She kind of created a pivot. So if you would, please applaud my wife. And lastly, for my monologue part, I wanted to thank the previous board presidents. So when I got on the board, and Nick Cruzy, I think, was the president at the time, it's been instructive to me, it's been helpful to learn from Nick Cruzy and Ed Budash, Tom Matheson, and Derek Ayton. And thank you for showing me how you guys led. Gave me an opportunity to see that while I was getting ready to try to do this. And it was very helpful, and I look forward to Renwick, Chelsea, Neil, and John. John's here. Just to see what you guys do with this. It's exciting. And with that, my monologue is done. But I'm not done. So. I have no emotion for this club. We have an opportunity to recognize an individual with the President's Award. This award is in recognition of a member of the Rotary Club who, through sustained, unstinting, and unusual dedication to the ideal of service above self, has contributed in a significant way to the established work of Rotary. I'd like to provide this award to Neil Marchand. I got to switch so I can say. He doesn't need to say anything. He's going to say stuff, I'm sure, sometime very soon. But I won't. You don't know what you are. This is a surprise, so I don't want to make you just have to say anything. But service above self is something that he's been involved with, made a huge impact. Served on the board as a board member, Rotary After Hours host, membership committee. I was on the membership committee, and I quickly recognized that Neil would be a better membership committee chair, and he was on the committee, stepped up, and really did a fantastic job. And has also provided legal assistance, and I'm sure there's a number of things that I don't see, but I wanted to recognize that because it's made a big impact on the club. So thank you, congratulations. Also have an opportunity to give a freshman award. Are you allowed to say freshman? A first-year student? The Freshman Award is given in recognition of a new member of the Rotary Club who has embraced their first year of membership with dedication to the ideal of service above self, has contributed in a significant way to the established work of Rotary. And I would like to offer this Freshman Award to Christine Lindemann. Christine, the reason we did this was her activity and involvement with the PR committee, the community engagement committee. She led the recent parks event under community engagement. She's been an active participant in the club events and the after hours and the meetings, and just wanted to recognize that commitment. So congratulations again. Also, we have a dynamic board. We have people that are kind of coming in and coming out on a regular basis. And we have 3 board members who are terming out, coming off the board. And I wanted to recognize their really years of diligence. Jim Pike has been both a board member and the treasurer for our club, and he's been engaged in the foundation. And he has stepped down as treasurer and the board. We are going to miss him. He's still actively engaged. He's going to be providing services through Fusion. So we still have that knowledge that he has of this club, but Hillary Smith is going to become our new treasurer on the board. So Jim is not here. The 4th of July weekend, we're missing a few people, but he's not here. But please thank him when you see him for all of his years of great service. Deb Nykamp, similarly, has been a great contributor on our board. When she gets into something, she digs in and really makes things happen. And we'll miss her on the board, but are very thankful for the years that she's been with us. Again, when you see Deb, please thank her. And third, John Preston is coming off the board as well. If you've been around John, you may appreciate that he's listening diligently, and he contributes in such a material way, but he does it in a very graceful, conscientious way that I'll miss that being around, but he certainly has served well. When you see John, please thank him. Those are the 3 that are coming off the board, but there's kind of an unofficial 4th person coming off, and that's Derek Ayton. He's been on the board and served as president and past president, and we're letting him go now. Although he's not going far, as he's going to be serving on the foundation board. So Derek is here. Thank you. I'm a little bit off on time, I apologize, but my last shot, and we're going to get to an open board position. If I could say something as a takeaway, kind of the one thing here, just be relevant, stand up, lead, make a difference. A number of the things that we do now or that we have done over the last several years is new. If you have an idea, bring it forward. We will get behind it. That's what we do. We need a leader to take an idea, develop it, grow it, and make a difference. And so for everybody who's out there looking for a new opportunity, create it and look for collaboration opportunities, but that's the way that we can continue to engage in the community and make a big difference. So keep that in mind. That would be my hope, that we would remember. We do have an open board position that needs to be replaced and voted on by the club. So everybody has a pink sheet on their table. We have 4 people that have stepped up. Doris Drain, Jim Gilbert, Chris Palisari, and Jason Webb, all 4 are on the ballot and would be interested in being on our board. We need to vote for that. If you would, please vote, and then we'll have somebody go around and they're going to pick them up. We're going to tally it, and before the meeting's done, we'll have the winner, and we'll actually be able to have our whole board finished. So while you do that,
sorry. We're just gonna take a minute.
right now, okay. Do we have? We're doing the full slate afterwards. I have it.
Got it?
That's done. Okay.
Can I fill them all up?
I know you wanna know.
You're from Chicago. It's okay.
I wrote it in your name.
I was serious. Oh, yeah, actually. Thank you.
You always want to know where someone
We can move on.
Set? All right. Thank you all for doing that. They're going to get them tallied and work quickly to do that effort. We're kind of at that point now. We get to do that pivot. And I will ask Renwick to come up in a second, but one more quick anecdote. I had a chance to meet Renwick, and it's been probably 20 to 21 years. And he and I ran into each other at Old Kent Bank, where he and I were both working at the time. And frankly, enjoyed meeting him then, got to know him a bit, but we kind of separated out. I went different path, and he went a little bit different path. We'd see each other periodically, and life's kind of a literary type. It's like a book, and you can see it sometimes when you look backwards. And in this case, we met back then and had kind of a connection. And then we end up joining Rotary on the exact same day. Hadn't seen him in years, and immediately, wow. And then having the opportunity to serve back to back and being able to be involved at this point with Renwick's been a real treat. But he's somebody that is a natural leader. He has a passion for the community. He has a passion for other people and service. I'm humbled and excited to be able to welcome Renwick up as our new president. So Renwick, please come on up. And yes, we did this well in advance because we thought there was no better way to have absolute continuity than to have he and I, because we are so similar. And we actually are. So at this point, I would like to present Renwick both with our traditional tiller passing that has many of the last presidents on here, and the tiller for his leadership, to provide him with that, and with the new banner for Rotary. There it is. And thankfully I have Dawn here to remind me I am giving him my pen. So let me put this on you.
Do I get to wear two?
You get to wear this. And I'm going to take this one off. Give that one to you.
All right.
Okay. And I think that is my role. Now it's up to you.
Dawn would let you know.
Do you want me to take that?
Yeah, thank you. And scripted.
And it begins.
I thought you wouldn't notice that. I was trying to be slick. And in my first ceremonial duty, I'd like to present Michael Sytsma, our fabulous, incredible, outgoing president, with the gavel in recognition of what has been an absolutely sterling year of leadership.
I'm going to go off cue here. This is terrible. It's because Dawn usually keeps me in line. There's a whole bunch of stuff on these papers here. I missed something that was very important to me. And I'm going to quick grab something. Dawn didn't necessarily have these on here because she didn't know. I would like to say a special thank you to two other people. One, to a fantastic leader who's been a great role model, if you will, and shown me a lot, taught me a lot, Jackie Taylor. She is our outgoing president of the foundation. We had the opportunity to serve together at the same time and really appreciate her. And finally, I wouldn't be able to do any of this without another great person, Dawn Smith. Thank you for keeping me. Can I have somebody take a picture for one last time with Renwick? We'll go back over and block Jason Webb so he can't be seen, but maybe Dawn have our last picture. You come back over.
And may we do this after I do my second ceremonial duty?
Okay. Oh, I get a pin.
And present Michael with the past president's pin.
Real quick.
Whoops.
Everybody, thumbs up.
Whoops, sorry, just a second. You're done?
I'll get out of the way.
Ask President's microphone.
But you get to do your talk.
Thank you, Dawn. Well, it's been an incredible ride being led by Michael Sytsma. Mike typifies what a Rotarian is. And it was a couple of weeks ago when we had our meeting that John Salem read what it means to be a Rotarian. And it was a powerful reminder of who we are and why we come together and how we engage in the community and in our personal lives. So it would be appropriate, it would be absolutely in order for us to give Michael another standing ovation. I had the opportunity, as Michael said, to go down to Atlanta to international conference, and it was a thrill to spend some more time with a good friend of mine, of ours, mentor, Phil Johnson. And I'd like to have Phil stand, please. Phil has written a book that is going to guide the next year. If you haven't read it, begin. If you haven't owned it yet, I'd invite you to own it. And beyond that, I'd like to invite you to join me in having that be the clarion call for how we live as Rotarians in Grand Rapids, in the region, and internationally. It's the compassionate conspiracy, a field guide to changing the world. Well-researched, well-documented. It moves us from what Phil would describe as being a tourist who barely understands poverty to truly understanding it and understanding the impact we could have in addressing it and so many of the issues that face humanity, including right here in Grand Rapids. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna read, and we're gonna have a field guide that orders our steps and gives guidance to our words and our actions and that will allow us to be magnetic, truly attract those who want to join us on this path, on this journey of changing lives, improving humanity. And Phil is in our midst, you know. And so often the prophet is in our midst, but we overlook what's right in our backyard. The classic book, The Acres of Diamonds, speaks so eloquently to it. The tendency we all possess to overlook what's right in our midst. So we have in our midst a leader, one who has researched and has detailed and captured the issues that we face and provided even more guidance for the actions we might take. And ultimately who we become, these irresistible leaders of humanity, leaders of leaders. And we call it ourselves Rotarians. And as a child, I knew that I wanted to be a Rotarian. I didn't express it in those terms, but I knew it. And here are some of the reasons I knew it. I grew up in this little country here, Guyana, South America. Oh, it wasn't until I was about 12 years of age that I remember running water. So this is not theory. When we give these filters out, this is real, close, and personal. I didn't know we weren't going to drink the water unless we boiled it, and we stored it in these containers. And I never knew from day to day if when we turned the faucet on, there would be water. Quite often, it would spit and it would be rust. Water was precious. Here I am today easily forgetting what it was like. No, I shouldn't. We shouldn't. What a difference boiling water made. How different it could have been for me. Yeah, little Guyana. Here's what's also interesting. And I want to thank Andy DeVries. Andy was the first person who introduced me to Rotary. Thank you, Andy.
You're welcome.
And then Phil came along, and I visited for 5 years or so before I joined. And like Michael, I was impressed with her heart. In fact, Ed DeVries isn't here, but I had been in Grand Rapids for a good 8 or 10 years, and through Ed experienced the most graceful greeting, welcome. He made me feel so at home at Amway Grand. Again, the heart of a Rotarian. And then there was Frank Dalmata, the administrative manager on the sugar estate, who was from Great Britain, who saw in the little 5'4" guy, my dad, a guy who cared and wanted to make a difference, who had a big heart, a dedication to service, who provided assistance to people outside of what he was required to do, and gave my dad a break after he had pursued some correspondence courses. And Frank said to my dad, "Tom, I see how you've taken care of your family. You haven't had much, but you pay attention to the little things. I know I could count on you." Did I say Frank was white? It doesn't matter, does it? But yet we have these divides that are meaningless. Frank didn't care. All Frank cared about was that he had a heart to help make a difference. And because of Frank, my brother, sister, and I could go to school on the bus, where the teachers were retired teachers who would come back. Big hearts for service. Changed the course of my life. Because I would not be here today, I wouldn't be educated today, I probably wouldn't be alive today, were it not for Frank and that little gesture, were it not for the work of the teachers who were retired, were it not for water that Frank allowed my dad to access and store. Why is this relevant? Well, there it is. Grew up in a little area right here. Oh, the per capita income is less than $5,000 a year. So you're looking at a miracle. And so, as someone said, don't greet me based on where I am today. Greet me based on the journey I've traveled. And even more so, engage me based on where we can go together. And that's what I'd like us to consider, where we can go together, making a difference in the lives of those who, just like me, believe it or not, I'm not far removed from the people we serve. When we talk about these water filters, when we talk about doing these projects overseas, it's for little Renwicks. Trust me. It's not theory, it's real. And why is this? And those stories of Frank and the teachers are stories of heart. Big hearts for humanity. The story of Phil Johnson and all of us in different ways. And the thing that unites us are stories of heart, big hearts. And that's what I'd like us to bring. As I've talked with Rotarians here in this club, in clubs I've visited around the area, as I've gone to the convention, wherever I've traveled, there's a pattern that emerges. And it's simply this. When the question is asked, why are you a Rotarian? Why have you remained a Rotarian? These are the common answers. Fellowship. You like to give back. You want to be involved in service. The programming is always incredible. Leadership development, friends. Business relationships. There's an interesting Rotary fellowship that is entitled Rotary Means Business. Why wouldn't we have a lifestyle where we do good and have good simultaneously? That's the opportunity. We need not apologize for doing business. After all, we're constantly raising funds. Why on earth wouldn't we easily, as a club of 200 members, contribute, like we do in so many areas, the $20,000 a year? Why is this negotiated? We do it last weekend. Who in here didn't spend $100? Over the last month, or 2 or 3, who didn't spend $300? And not just spend $300, but in retrospect, in areas that are inconsequential to, and incongruent, I might add, to the things that matter most to us. Why are we negotiating this? We do it. Why not leverage the power of Rotary, the brand equity of Rotary, the credibility and the impact we can have? I say some might not be able to do 100, but some can do 500. Let's do it. We do it already. Let's just focus our energies. Mentoring. It was an incredible talk delivered down in Atlanta by a 28-year-old from Germany, a Rotary scholar, who said essentially this: what we at 25 and 28 and 32 want are opportunities for leadership development, opportunities for mentorship, opportunities to serve, opportunities to be guided and make a difference and provide service to others, and some flexibility. And then she looked at this audience of 40,000 people from around the world and asked this question. And I'll ask you it now. And do you know where they might find some of this? You know the answer. It's right in every Rotary Club. So as we talk about diversity, as we talk about the future, let's think about the needs of the 25 and 28 and 32-year-olds and the 72 and 82-year-olds who can provide the mentoring and the leadership development and the friendship and the business relationships. There's a place for all of us, and none of us should be excluded. I'm sure you'll agree. And it's simple. Rotary has a simple strategic focus, and so should we. It should be clear. Here's Rotaries. Support and strengthen clubs, so we can expect them to help us. Focus and increase humanitarian service. That's not new to any of us. And then to enhance the public image and awareness of Rotary. Aren't you amazed at how often you encounter people who have no idea what Rotary is? I am. And why is that? Are we only Thursday lunchtime Rotarians? And what would it take for us to be everyday Rotarians? Proud of what we do, proud to exclaim and communicate very succinctly.